United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We want to start by giving an update on John.
Yeah. Thank you all for coming. On a nice positive note, I'd like to say that tonight is somewhere around the 3-month period of our new office manager, Jenna. And from a board member standpoint, I have to say that I've really enjoyed Jenna's work since she started. And hopefully the community has enjoyed the office since Jenna started. It's very positive in the office, and everybody tries to help as much as possible, all the community members, and I'm very impressed. So I'd like to thank Jenna for her first 3 months. On another note for the community, most of you know by now John Reedy is in the hospital. He had a cardiac arrest about 3 weeks ago, and the only thing I can report to you is that his vitals are inching up. He is off the ventilator. He is breathing on his own, but it's not steady. I don't want to give you any misleading information. It's day by day, okay? And it's serious. He's still in ICU, and for those of you who believe in prayers, we need them. And I've had one conversation in the last 3 weeks. Since then, he was put back on the ventilator, and he is off the ventilator again, but that's the status. We have a Facebook update about every other day. I send that out to the board members, and I send that out to some people that have known John personally in their everyday life. Other than that, it gets circulated through people that identify with other people on those. If you feel as though you'd like to know those updates, all I can say is get a hold of the office and we might be able to figure something out for you. Other than that, the hearsay's out there. I'll tell you when if something really positive happens in the near future, we'll get it out and we'll let everybody know. So please give John all your thoughts and prayers.
Paul?
Yeah.
John Reedy's Facebook page is not private, so if you search Facebook for John Reedy, you can see the updates as the family shares them.
There you go. Okay, so let's move forward. Clear Creek Conservancy.
Wayne Kelly, 282 Victory Planning. I don't really have much. We're hoping this meeting this month that the engineering firm comes back with some more information for us. Our meeting is August the 18th at 10 a.m. at the Conservancy.
Thank you, Dwayne. Floyd Township Fire Department.
Jeff Brooks.
Jeff Brooks.
Township Fire Department. We had 30 runs for the month of July. We had 16 EMS runs, that's excluding motor vehicle accidents. We had 3 motor vehicle accidents injuries, 6 lifts assist, and a bunch of little stuff, one of these, one there. With the night that John did have his cardiac arrest, we did have 2 cardiac arrests that night, one here and then one in Bainbridge. So the department's prayers, thoughts and prayers are with John. And we also, good news for the department, we have a new tanker. I think Ken's seen it, some of y'all may have seen it run around town, we just kind of showing it off a little bit. It's a 2,000 gallon twin tanker that's set up to be first response on fire as well. So we've got 2 apparatus can go out first on runs, and it's also by doing what we've done with the tanker change, it's going to free up capital to replace an engine, which is 20 years old next year. So it's due to be replaced. It's going to free up the capital to do that. So we'll be able to have a new engine and a new tanker going forward at the same cost of what the old tanker was costing us annually. So that's one of the biggest reasons we did it as well.
Thank you. Neighborhood Watch, Ken?
April reported that they are crime-free. She must have not been communicated the 38 calls that I'm gonna report for the security. So that's what her note says.
Disney. Okay, HLCS, Rick?
Nothing newsworthy to report.
Helnack, Jan?
Yes, Jan Silly, 65 Gettysburg. The Boat Poker Run is this coming Saturday. Forecast shows that we're going to have great weather, so we're hoping for a lot of people to sign up. After Wednesday, the cost does go up, so if you're going to participate, get signed up by Wednesday so it doesn't cost you $5 more. We're also having a cornhole tournament that day as well, and Cornfield Mafia concert that evening. Also in September, the 8th, 9th, and 10th, our scholarship committee in Hillneck will be co-sponsoring the garage sale and food concessions in conjunction with community sales this year for this fall. And of course, we're looking for your treasures. So if you have anything of any value, no old TVs, no old appliances, things like that that have no value and need to come somewhere, hopefully not here, we'd love to have those the Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday before of that sale. So we'd appreciate, actually we're going to be having pork barbecue, hamburgers, hot dogs for lunch, so come for lunch if you're in the area. Thanks.
Thanks, Jan. POA Security, Ken?
These are the calls that must not have got it reported to April. Domestic battery, there's 3, 2 disturbance calls, 3 suspicious people, 10 traffic stops, 2 admin calls, 1 animal complaint, 4 lockouts, 1 medical assist, 1 personal injury crash, 2 alarm, 1 narcotic complaint, 2 agency assist, 1 burglary, 1 child custody, 1 theft, 1 fraud, 1 weapons issue, and 1 harassment. The one of them that the animal complaint, just I took that call. You just don't know how important it is to keep your animals in check. An animal, a female was walking down the road. This animal was trusted to stay in their yard. Came out and took a chunk on her thigh, and when I went to approach the house, that dog wanted me, and I took a couple swings at it with a club, and was this close to tasing it. So the owner got home, and you know, it's important to keep your animals in check. These people wasn't even home, so the dog was running loose out in their yard, and in a bit a female. So please, you're not going to be home. Keep your dogs inside or leashed or in a cage or a kennel. So that's that.
On a side note for animals and pets, it seems as though, as everywhere in the country since the pandemic, people get more pets and more pets and more pets. And Heritage Lake has not been excluded from that trend. And I would suggest to the audience, if you're watching, if you live on the lake especially, and you have some dogs that just love to speak a lot, water travels, and it used to be peaceful here during the week. Anymore, I can tell you what kind of dog is right across the way. I mean, it's just amazing to me, the sounds out here. And people must be leaving their dog here. I don't know what it is. But anyway, keep that in mind if you have pets. If you're not there to hear them, we are. So it's nice if you take ownership of those pets. Presentation of agenda. Everybody okay? Presentation of minutes. Take a motion for the July 11th board meeting, please.
Motion to accept.
All those in favor?
Sorry, lost my voice there for a sec.
Unanimous. Take a motion for the 25th operation meeting in July.
Motion to accept.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Treasurer's report, Mr. Stafford.
That's me. All right. July 2022 accrued income balance for the month of July was $199,611. Total expenses for the month were $188,111, leaving a net income balance of $11,500. Just a side note, we had a very successful 4th of July weekend at the marina and at Psalms. Largest expense again being gas at the marina for the holiday weekend. Total gas expense for the month of July, for the month of July was $63,994. However, the income generated from the gas was $72,734. It's a lot of gas. I think my dad worked one shift, which was like 5 or 6 hours, and he pumped 1,100 gallons of gas on one of the, maybe both days. I don't remember which days he worked. He might have worked Friday and Saturday, but yeah, he said it was moving. Accrued income year to date is $1,258,987. Total expenses for the year of $1,064,229, leaving a net income year to date of $194,758. And as of the end of July, our short-term cash checking account balance is $844,823. And total CD, money market and investments are $209,519 for a total of $1,054,342. Respectfully submitted.
I think I would just like to say a big thank you to everyone who worked at the marina, because that was a long day and they were very busy, but they moved people like crazy. So
They stayed very late.
yes, they did. They did a great job.
Thank you.
Good appraisal.
Thank you, AJ. Board committee reports. Bear with me. I haven't practiced, and I'm going to try and get through this as best I can through the A&E. Gentleman by the name of Jim Davidson. If I make a mistake here, anybody's qualified to correct me. I'd appreciate it. From Lincoln Hills 121 has met the meeting requirements to join the committee and will submit his name for membership. So I am hereby submitting his name for membership and asking the vote of the board to approve Jim Davidson to be a member of the A&E committee.
I know Jim, and I move we accept him.
Second.
All those in favor? Okay, Jim. Welcome aboard. Wording needs that to be changed in the rules. And I think, do I have those here? Somewhere?
Right here's the current wording of the proposal.
Okay. The current wording, boat dock can only extend over the water no more than 10% of the width of the cove on which it is located, or 24 feet maximum. Docks and boats shall not be configured in a way that blocks access to the end of the cove. There must remain no less than 12 feet of clear width for boat travel. And that is A&E rule number 433.4. The proposed wording. The boat dock can only extend over the water no more than 10% of the width of the cove on which it is located, not to exceed 24 feet. Docks and boats shall not be configured in a way that blocks access to the end of the cove. There must remain no less than 12 feet of clear width for boat travel. I don't see the difference.
It's
Not
right
to
here.
exceed 24 feet.
Versus
After it says
24 feet.
10% of the width of the cove which is located, or 24 feet, they want to change it to not to exceed.
10% of the width of the cove, okay.
I still don't understand I mean, I see the difference, I see it, I just don't
Because if you
understand.
read the comma, then it says or 24 feet. So it could be like, oh, I can make my dock 24 feet wide on a 23-foot cove.
Right.
So we're basically excluding the 24 feet maximum, correct?
We're just stipulating that
You can choose. You can choose
It's a
whether it's
maximum.
10% of the cove or 24 feet.
Not to
right.
exceed 24 feet instead of or. Okay.
Right.
Everybody understand that?
No
Yes.
choices.
Got it?
Got it.
I didn't understand it when I first read it.
Nailed it.
I should have read this about 3 days ago. Sorry about that. But anyway, so,
Do we want to vote on these one at a time?
not necessary. We can go to the next one and we can vote on all of it if that's your wish.
Okay.
Unless something doesn't make sense and we can discuss it. Next one is 421.3. There must be a house constructed on a lot in order to construct a garage. Let me do, and I'm going to read the proposed change, and then I'm going to explain to the audience and the rest of the board what has transpired here. Because it'll make more sense to you why we're changing this. There must be a house constructed on the lot in order to construct a garage. Lots that have been joined together must have a shared property line in order to build a detached garage on the non-house lot. Now, let me explain. Putnam County will let you adjoin any lots and have them deeded together. It may not be the same taxation, but they will deed two lots together in Putnam County. Therefore, that gives anybody the right to have a lot at Heritage Lake and deed it together with a lot in Greencastle. I know. This comes from a county that started zoning in 1999. Now, I'm not saying that to make fun. I'm saying I'm sure it's something that has been overlooked. And hopefully after we do this is to protect us out here, and I'll explain that also. After the fact, I think some of us will have a discussion with some of the people in Putnam County to see if they wish to change that in their zoning rules. Obviously, for us, it makes an important fact. I own two lots. One my house is on. The other one is about a mile away. And I own that other lot, so all my kids could be on that lot. And they, as we know, our rules will suggest that we can do. Now, if I want to build a garage on that lot, all I have to do is deed those two together, according to our Putnam County rules. But according to our rules, we don't have anything in there that says I can't do that. So consequently, what's going to happen is you're going to have lots with garages on them all over the lake. And I'm not sure that we want that. Now, as a board, we can vote on this proposal and change the wording so that that is not possible. And I will disclose that there is a property owner on the lake currently that wishes to build a garage on his adjoining property that he's going to combine with his property, and they are not side by side. They don't share a property line. So this is not something against that individual, but I want to disclose that. That's how the subject came up. We researched it with Putnam County. They gave us no choice but to act on our own as we see fit. So the board, as you all know, has the right to receive that information, discuss it, and then vote on it. And that's where we are. Does that make sense to everybody? Discussion?
I mean, I'm kind of torn because it is one less house out here. By making it a garage lot, you could park your boats inside somewhere instead of just on an empty lot. They could be, people that own waterfront lots that have very small lots could have a parking space within the lake that they would pay their dues for, they'd have to pay more taxes for. And it would not create another home that taxes the sewer system and everything else. Now, obviously, it would still have to follow the rules of the garage. But, I mean, I'm not super against that. I mean,
My question is, what was the intent of the original covenants? Was the intent of the original covenants that every buildable lot be built upon? Or was it that we have as few houses as possible and we don't have freestanding garages? I don't want to construe, because I understand, I mean, the current residents are concerned about the current housing population. I understand that concern, but I think it is our duty to go back to what is the intent of the covenants.
well, I'm not a lawyer, so I can't read it in the intent of the
I'm
covenant.
not sure a lawyer can. I mean, these covenants were done in 1971, as we all know, and
And a lot of things have changed since then. I
agree.
guess I feel like if there are so many rules on how to build a garage and what kind of garage you can build, and it has to look nice, and it has to be this, and it has to be that.
has to match the house.
Has to match the house, so that's fine. Like, I mean, if it was me, I would say that's fine. I mean, if you have a tan house, then your garage has to be tan. It has to do the same.
Even if it's 5 miles away.
Yep. I'm just saying, like, would you rather see a bunch of empty trailers parked on a lot, or a building that they could park them inside of? Because the way the rules are written, you can park up to 3 empty trailers on any empty lot. But if they had a building, there's a better chance that they would park their boat or trailers inside that building potentially. Plus, it would give, like I said, people that don't have as much space on their lot, or they were not able to purchase an adjoining lot because they didn't move here 20 years ago, and it would give them another place to park. And it would be, like I said, it would just be less on the,
Does anybody see a downside to having garages on lots? No, I can't take it from the audience right now, I'm sorry.
So our covenants say no garages on, if you only own that lot, you can't have a garage.
Correct.
So even though those 2 lots are deeded together, they can be sold separately.
No. Once they're deeded together, they're one property.
They're one property,
So
so.
you can't undeed them?
yes, you can.
Oh, you can undeed them.
So then we are undeeded, sold to a third party who had nothing to do with any of the construction, and now you have a third party who owns a single lot with a garage on it.
Mhm.
Is that in conflict with our covenants?
What's the difference between a garage on an otherwise empty lot and a shed?
Oh, it has to follow the rules that we
Let's
put
have a
forth.
foundation.
But we
That
put,
is,
wait, hold on, but we put forth the rules for a garage. I'm not fighting for this, I got a huge building, I don't need this.
This is a discussion. That's all, you don't have to defend anything.
I'm just saying that we put forth a list of rules that it is not a shed, that it is a garage. It has to be 180 square feet on a concrete foundation with a roll-up door. Now, if we want to change all those rules, we can do all that. I'm just saying that we have a definition of that type of structure or building or whatever kind of word you want to put with it. Whatever noun, adjective, whatever. I'm just saying that we have a description of that. It's not just, oh, well, if you get an empty lot, you can have a shed. Well, no. You still have to follow all the rest of the rules. But
These are all good points. Anybody else? At this point, I would suggest that we vote on one of these. And I think, unless the board is against this, I think we give this a little bit more thought and table this. And post-meeting, we may get some discussion from the audience, and we may get some new light on this subject. So unless anybody is against that proposal, I suggest that I'll ask for a motion to vote on 43.4 changes as described.
I move we accept 433.4 as worded.
I second the movement.
All those in favor? Unanimous? And we will table 421.3 with, and justifying that tabling is, maybe we haven't heard some more important ideas about moving forward with this. I would hate to vote on this this is gonna have to be voted on next month also, because I don't think there's an expedience in either one of these, but
So if we don't vote on this, you said someone is, I'm assuming, taking something to A&E to get approval?
correct. If there's still discussion being held and there's still, we're still undecided, I would assume the A&E committee is going to be undecided also.
Okay.
And they can table or they can refuse
Okay.
at any time under their rules.
And I would feel more comfortable if we had, if we spoke with the A&E committee and we could all kind of go with them with our individual questions, because, that's their wheelhouse. They are the ones that hear these requests and see the differences in these requests every month. So I would like that.
I would probably, if I could add my 2 cents, that if that is something that the board would happen to approve, then I would probably word something in there per the approval of an A&E for the location of that garage. Because I think that would defeat the purpose if you put it 30 feet from the road, just like you would a house. Because then at some point in time, if it ever got undeeded and somebody wanted to build a house, then now they're gonna have to build that house in behind that garage. It's not gonna be very conducive to somebody that would want it be undeeded, sold to. I would probably say that they need to have some kind of leeway on where that garage is
Right. There would be
located on that property, preferably the back third of the lot.
I would think, Nina, that because the A&E committee gave us this proposed wording, I would think that already is what they want.
I understand, I just would like to discuss it with them because maybe they obviously know more than we do. And I want to hear more about it.
Yeah, this has come about rather quickly, so I'm not sure how much discussion has been since, actually, this has come about while John's been in the hospital. Okay, so it hasn't been that long. And there's been a lot of discussion about it, but it's only been discussion with a few people. And,
Yeah, I think there'd be value to kind of hit the pause button a little bit and just think through what the implications might be. I mean, are we gonna have a flood of garages out here, or would it just be convenient for a handful of people, or just,
Is there
what that means, I don't know.
a situation like this that you can think of? Is there,
yeah, somebody wants to do this right now.
I know, but is there one already built that's not adjacent to
Not that I know
a
of.
house?
Yes?
Huh.
No, that's the, okay.
Are you talking about the one that the house burnt?
No, it was, if you recall, it was an individual father who purchased the property that had an existing garage on it.
That house
And-
burnt. That house burnt and the garage was salvaged. I know for a fact, because I called it in.
Well, that's a question.
It was burning in the
That's
morning.
a question we'll look at, and then while we're tabling this and while we're going into further discussions.
It's in Mill Springs, correct?
Yeah. And there's also sheds out here. I think moving forward, we want to identify what kind of rule that we want to stick with. We don't want to get something and then have to change it in 6 months. We'll move forward on that. I guess that's all I have for the A&E. I would probably report to you about what went on in the last meeting. If I had that in front of me, I apologize, but I don't. I'll do my best to bring that at the next meeting. Campground. Rick?
Rick Stevens, 95 Victory Hill. Next meeting is Saturday, August 20th.
How'd the band do?
Great, missed out on a good time.
I wanted to, say thanks to Dale for putting that band on. I usually, you know, that was my first opportunity to kind of break away. I wasn't working, I wasn't doing nothing, and I just went there, and it was a nice time. It was, because a lot of times when I deal with people, they're complaining about something, or they got a problem, or whatever, or some kind of a complaint. There was not one complaint. I mean, it was really nice to stand there and just talk to people and have a good time. So it was a really nice time down there.
We run a clean show down there. I tried to tell you that before.
Now you know.
All right, let's not bring anything up.
Story.
All right.
You're doing a great job.
Yes. Clean up.
They had no meeting last month, but we will have a meeting Wednesday night, 7 o'clock, whoever wants to attend.
And you just did the
Um,
shred. The shred.
How'd the shred event do?
I haven't heard.
Okay.
It was reported on Facebook as quite successful.
Government committee. Rick?
Rick Olson, 51 Mill Springs. At the Putnam County Commissioners meeting, there wasn't a lot. The only thing I took back from that was that the county will be cutting back on their paving program next year because of funds don't go as far as they used to because of inflation and whatnot. I'm not sure what, if any, impact that'll have to the lake, but I was sitting there thinking about it, I suppose it could. So anyway, after the commissioners meeting, we had a meeting with Jim Peck regarding a few different issues. We discussed, I've spoken about this before, about the possibility of folks that live on roads with cul-de-sacs to get together, pool their money, and then have a double chip and seal performed on that road. They did say that, we don't have any details yet, but they did say that in that case, the residents would be responsible for the materials, and the county would take care of the labor. So no costs, we don't know any details, but we'll keep our eye on that if folks want to do that. During the overlay project that's scheduled for Heritage Drive, which now is going to, they're saying late August, so there's a delay on that. They will keep one lane open during that overlay operation. And they did say the double chip and seal work on Jefferson Valley, or in Jefferson Valley, will require a full road closure during the day. So, I mean, if there was an emergency, I'm sure they can get in. If they, you know, the operation goes that they spread an emulsion and then put gravel on it. So if that emulsion was down at that point, then your car would probably get pretty dirty. But anyway, residents are going to need to plan accordingly. I'm not sure how that's going to work for people that have to leave during the day. But we've done it before, I guess, right? So do you have any feel for that?
Times. It's just, my suggestion, just be patient with them. I mean, somebody was throwing 1,000 questions to me the other day. What am I going to do if I need to get out? Well, you know, you can park somewhere else. You know, down the road, you can walk. Where they're doing it, there's all kinds of different routes you can get out of. We will communicate to the community when that's going to happen. Like I told her, I said, I could tell them to skip your road if you want.
Yeah.
And she said, oh no. Then just work with it. Just be patient. You know, you got one or the other, a fixed road or, you know, so just be cooperative with them.
And now they're saying September for that fix, by the way, which is, both of those dates are later than what I reported in the highlights. So, always delays. Let's see. We discussed brush cutting at a few intersections. I know the one by the campground is not in good shape. The one 725 and 525 is not. County didn't seem real optimistic about being able to get out there because they're focusing so much on their roadway work right now. We talked about a few options, but nothing was set in stone. Ken, did you have any more thoughts about that?
Can you do the trustees again?
Options of taking care of that?
You know, there's there's we've kind of pacified it with the trustees doing it. We can do it, but it's just kind of come to a point where we need bigger equipment to cut it back. I sent Jim Peck an email this morning, asking him if there's a way that he could come out here maybe spend a day with me. I'll buy him lunch. There's a couple things I want him to see that needs to be done. There's a couple things some trees that are some dead trees that are hanging over the road that need taken care of. There's just a lot of things I need to point out to him, and the brush cutting is one. It's just, we can do it with trustees, but it's just kind of pacifying it. What they're doing is using weed eaters, and it's a lot of brush. It's not a whole lot of stuff. You use chainsaws. So,
the other issue that we discussed with Jim was the pipe crossings. We've talked about this before. They dump the aggregate in there around the pipe, and obviously it settles, and you've got a big dip there. And so he talked like they would look at changing that procedure. And they do need to repair the ones that on Heritage Drive, there's still some bad spots over there and they said they would repair those before they do the overlay. So that's all I have. Any questions?
The only thing I would bring up at this time is, I think there's a commissioners meeting on Monday.
Yes.
And we might pass him a note to reiterate those pipe crossings that are not going to be covered with the new roadway. There's one that I know of that's really a bad one. They've gotten a lot of complaints, and if they could address that. Second thing is if we haven't really gotten an answer from him yet on this cul-de-sac thing, and if they're going to be here in September, those of us who would like to get that done, we have to have an explanation so we can give to the neighbors to try and get some money together. So maybe we could just reiterate that to him on Monday and see if he has an answer for
We'll
us.
try to get him pinned down. I don't know, the season for doing that is only so long. So because of these delays, I'm afraid that we may run out of time. I'm guessing. So I don't know where we fall. That September falls into the schedule, but then you have October and then November, and what happens at that point? Plants shut down and whatnot. So, okay.
Thank you.
Do you know where the crossing or the pipe crossing is that is in bad shape?
Yes, I'll get that for you.
Shoot me an email or something.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Lake Committee, Rick?
Yeah, they asked me to report for them. At the July meeting, we first talked about lake rules and additions or changes for the new year, next year. We've only got 3 meetings left until our winter break. So there is enough time, though, for us to make any changes and present them to the board, which we plan to do. So the request is of the Lake Committee and of the board is if you have changes you want the Lake Committee to present, get them to us, me or one of the Muhlenbeins as soon as you can. And we'll have to talk about that in our next meeting. Then we spent most of the rest of the meeting talking about the Feast and Ski event that operationally it went quite well. Financially, it was almost as good as prior year. Sponsorships and silent auction were strong, supported well, up about 5% from last year. Merchandise sales was up almost 30% because we offered some new stuff that was exciting for a lot of folks. You can still buy some of that, by the way, in the marina. But the biggest difference that we were not quite as high on net income as last year was food sales. That was way down from last year. And we attribute that mostly to the small crowd size, which was another big point of discussion. The crowd size was very disappointing. And we did a deep dive into all the possible reasons for that. And the one general conclusion is we're going to make changes for next year's Feast and Ski to add some new life to it, some new activities to bring some new interest or renewed interest for people to come out. So look for those things to happen. And but overall, it was declared a success. And thanks to a lot of people, sponsors, volunteers, and Mary Petruzzi threw a lot of work into it. Okay.
Thank you, Rick. Clean water, Phil?
Nothing particularly new to report at this time of year. I would just ask Ken, as he's done in the past, to consider some E. coli sampling at your convenience and submit those results to me, and I'll compare them to the latest standards from EPA and the Indiana Department of Health.
I'll get them to you before next meeting.
Thank you. Long-term planning, HLEPT. Summary, you have anything?
Yeah, I mean, the last meeting, we talked a lot about what we had talked about meetings prior, meeting with the fire department, meeting with the CERT team, just kind of talking about next steps now that we have some of that information, updating the red pages in our welcome packet to current information and adding some things that we've learned. And the next meeting, we're going to be talking, Roger talked with Dave Costin, who is the head of emergency management here. He does like everything emergency-wise in Putnam County. So we're going to go over that information and see how we can use that to our best ability.
Thank you. Siltation, Dwayne, you have something?
Yeah, just real quick. As everybody knows, I reported before that we were going to clean out the north silt basin. We decided at our last meeting at the same time to clean out the east silt basin too. So we're going to, whenever it quits raining and Shannon gets dry enough to get in there, he's going to clean both of them out. And our next meeting is August the 25th at 7 p.m. here in this building.
It's a good time. Come on, bud.
I think cleaning that out is going to help a ton because I think with the rains, it was extra milky looking this year, if that makes sense. I think those silt basins are just so full right now that will help with that.
East?
North especially.
North is
Oh.
very,
There's weeds growing several feet deep along the dam,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, but yeah, we're just, he's gonna get it sometime this fall when weather gets, when not so much rain.
Yeah.
Okay, election committee, I'm sure there's no report. Jim is probably home texting me about that bad spot in the road. All right, manager's report, Ken Rozelle.
Okay, I don't have a whole lot here. The damaged flagpole update, the resident that damaged flagpole at the point during a boat accident has stated he has ordered the flagpole. It's an identical size flagpole with a lead time of delivery of 10 to 12 weeks. This should be replaced and concreted back to new sometime in October. Last week, I purchased a very nice used 27-ton log splitter. We currently cut down a lot of trees around here, and in the years past, we would just burn them up, and I got to thinking that was kind of silly, so we have been stockpiling a bunch of wood behind the maintenance building, and we're going to start splitting that up, and we're going to come up with a price for the community for a rick of wood, and whether you pick it up or whether we deliver it. It'll be a very good price for the members. I will report that when I get that price and ready to split some wood. I've been asked several times about reporting some of the numbers that we gained from the restaurant at Psalms. Starting tonight, I will begin giving a monthly income report at every board meeting for that previous month. Per the contract, each month we receive a lease payment of $2,500 along with a percentage of their sales each month. Throughout the year, during peak months, we receive 7%. 3 months, we receive 6%. With the slowest 3 months, we receive 3% of sales. So for the month of July, the POA earned the $2,500 for the lease and $8,164 for the 7% of their sales, for a total of $10,664 for the month of July. Year to date, the restaurant has provided income to the POA totaling $40,979. And just doing some math, I estimate year end that total will project somewhere between 71 and 75,000 for the end of the year. So that's a big win. Lastly, this is to the board. The 2023 budget time is nearing. Do you guys want to either think about it, set it now, or set a date for me to shoot for a budget review, with the first vote coming in October and the second vote coming in November?
I personally need to get, I have one soccer schedule, I need another soccer schedule and see, I think I should be fine and I don't mind missing a game or so, but if it's something big, I kind of need to be there, so I just want to reevaluate.
If you guys want to,
Can we make that decision on in the ops meeting this month? Would that be quick enough?
oh yeah, that'd be fine. I mean, I need to start working on it now, but,
Right. We can make a decision in the ops meeting, so just put that in the records that'll be part of our agenda for the ops meeting.
and in the month of October, our accountant thought October was best, that Paul and I is going to be meeting with them like we do every year, to kind of get a good gauge of where we're going to be at for the end of the year, as far as money goes, and spending and what we should spend and that kind of thing. So we'll be meeting with them in October.
Did the guy who gave us that bid, did he say anything about maybe getting it done this year? Was it possible?
I definitely thought it was possible, but I didn't lean that way.
Okay.
So we're going to decide that in the ops meeting.
Ops meeting,
Okay.
okay.
And that's it.
Okay, we move into old business forum, library box. Summer, you got anything on that?
Okay, so first of all, how cute was Connor Chamberlain? I was not here, but I watched it live, and I was, my teacher heart was just like this big.
He sat in your chair.
I know. He is so cute, and there's just a lot of background with him. He writes his own books. He has published his own books on Amazon. I mean, this kid loves reading, so this was just a big project for him. I talked to his parents. The project is fully funded. They have the materials, but they have not started to build them yet. They just personally have had a lot of things come up, but they have a ton of library donations. Tom also gave me some information to contact the Putnam County Library to see about partnering. And I think that would be great down the line. Right now they have so many book donations, I don't think we need it. I have tried to call him, but I keep getting a busy signal, Tom. So I'm not sure if maybe his phone cuts off at a certain time. I don't know. Anyway, I'll get with you about that. But everything's going great. As soon as they can get the boxes built, they're actually going to build them a little bit bigger than what they thought because they have so many donations. There's a place in Rockville that latched onto this project, something called the Berry. Is that right? Has anybody heard of that? The Berry in Rockville? No?
Sounds good.
Okay. And they just donated, they had a bunch of books and they had a bunch of money and they just sent it his way. So sweet. It's been great.
Thank you, Summer. New business, lake closure. We suggested last year, at the end of the year, when somebody asked if we could close the lake, that it was too late in the year to give notice to the people in the lake. Since then, we've had a lot more people requesting the desire to work on their docks. This year, I think it's somewhat appropriate this year. We've talked about it briefly in our ops meetings. So I think what we need to come up with is a proposed date and the reason for that date. So far, the discussions that I've been involved with or overheard, we have weather to think of. We brought this to the Conservancy Board. They have no qualms about any time we want to lower the lake. If they need to lower the lake for their spillway to seal it, they can do that without lowering it as far as we're going to lower it. So that's not going to be a problem. The proposal is to lower the lake approximately, what, 4 feet?
4.5, right? 4.5, did
Yeah,
it say?
yeah. And last time we lowered the lake, we did it in September. Some of the conversation up to this point is move it to October so that people can enjoy the lake a little bit longer. Once you get into October, you get close to November, and then you have contractors that aren't going to have as good a weather, both combined with rain and or cold towards the end of November, getting into December. So keep those things in mind. We're under the impression that we get about 4 inches a day reduction, depending on how much rain we get, obviously. But only so much water can leave at a time. So under that scenario, under the best conditions, we're looking at 2 weeks. So I personally would suggest October 15th. Gives you an extra month from when we used to do it, September 15th, after Labor Day. So we're getting an extra month for boating and activities. And you still have a little bit more time, but when we tell you October 15th, especially if you live on a cove, you need to act responsibly to get your boat off. Every time we do this, there's somebody that either didn't get the word or forgot or had his head in the sand or whatever the reason, and we have a boat stuck somewhere. But that is what it is. So if anybody has another date in mind, now's the time to talk about it.
That's what I was thinking.
For our employees, I'd rather you not do it on a Saturday.
Is that,
Yeah, 17th would be a Monday.
Yeah, the
Give
15th
residents
is-
that weekend to,
I
it's your last
was
chance,
thinking the
boys.
14th to the
Get it off this
17th.
weekend or you're stuck.
I agree with that. I think the
What?
17th is a
17th?
better timing.
I suppose we should vote on it.
I'll just so everybody knows the situation, if we happen to have a substation blow up that day, it probably won't be open for a day or two after that because our guys will be busy, but we'll make every effort we can to do it on the 17th unless there's some kind of an emergency that we can't get to it.
Be rest assured that there will be some procrastinators and they'll be glad that it did get started on the 17th.
Well, if there's not, it'll be the first time.
Yeah.
I move we set the date for lake lowering at October 17th.
I second that.
All those in favor?
All right.
What a pleasant board this is tonight.
Okay.
All right,
I mean, I
so the
could
lake closures, the October 17th, and if we could send out an email first time this week, and every week after that until October 17th.
Put a sky rating.
Yeah, yeah,
We'll publish it by the.
all
you can
right.
ask the fire department to put on their,
Can
Yeah, that
something's
might be
printed
a
out
good-
on the receipt?
Yeah. All right, boat dock advertising. My name's on here, but I don't know why. I guess it's just because I'm.
Did you tell me what to put on there?
We've had a little bit of discussion in our ops meeting about the boat advertisement. Have we gotten anywhere on those new,
I asked for that information, but
you haven't gotten it yet?
no, but let me find out. Come back to me in a minute.
Okay, so at where we are right now, I'm not sure we're gonna progress in this particular meeting, but just so the audience knows. Like everything we do as a board or as a community, sometimes we improve that, or we just do away with it, or we just make a decision on it. The advertisement helped us build those docks. The advertisement was, in our opinion, not as good as we would have liked. The water discolored a lot of the signs. The boats damaged a lot of the signs. So we're coming up with a plan B on those advertisements. And suggestion was made that we are going to make restitution with the people that initially invested with us somehow. Don't know if it'll be, just getting them back out there for another year, with what they paid last year, but we're going to come up with some type of restitution for them. We've had suggestion that we take the signs off the dock and bring them up, and there are accessories available to where the sign can be right above and right under a handrail, that when you're walking down the dock, you get the accessibility of the handrail, plus your sign is more visible when the boat pulls up and what you can see from the water and the roads. Those things are being discussed right now. It seems to me that, if I was going to put my advertisement back next year and I had the opportunity of just doing it for the cost of the rails plus the signs, I would be impressed. Now, we may come up with just a reduced price for next year for those people that invested with us for the first year. But we're discussing those things right now. Is that a good analogy of what we've talked about? I think we're all in favor of doing something good for those people. They invested their money and we don't think they got the full boat for it. And AJ's working on getting those prices for the rails, so I think we'll move forward and table this for the next meeting.
How many advertisements do we have?
12 plus Lake.
Do the ones on the end of the dock get beat up? The two Psalms ones and the Lake Committee one on the end of the dock?
They do not get beat up, but they get discolored. So they, if we're going to raise them up all over the place, and plus the fact, if you put the rails on the outside, I just gave some thoughts. These are your last proposal. If you put the rails on those, you have two sides to the rails, so we might be able to get more people to advertise.
We just have to be careful that people can get on and off their boats without the railings being in the way.
Correct.
Well, that's
Right.
what I was thinking. Maybe we have them on the very ends where the slips are. And we would have to reconfigure the sizes of them.
Yeah.
But you could have them on one side, on two-sided. And
I got
those,
an idea, I'll show you a drawing after.
and those rails wouldn't be in the way.
Well, the rails are fitting in those slots, though,
They fit,
and
they're
they're not the same on the end.
They have to fit in those little pockets on the dock. They're like prefabricated to fit in those certain areas.
And little boat
I'll show you the little drawing that I had.
Okay.
It's just harder to do it with,
Okay, so we'll move forward on that. Boat slip requirements. First of all, let me suggest, or let me inform the folks in the audience and those watching us. This is an operations deal. This is the manager's deal. Okay, boat slips are part of his contracts, come out of the office, and we rent the boat slips to the folks in the community. Right now, we have Some concerns. I'll get to the main concern first. In 2022, we had 13 boats not registered that had slips. So we lost $4,000 that year because they never registered their boats, so therefore their boats were never in their slips. In 2021, the year prior to that, we had 7 boats not registered. Is there a trend? We went from 7 to 13. Lost $2,000, over $2,000 that year. So in 2 years, the community has lost $6,200 because people have chosen not to put their boats in those slips. Now there's probably one very obvious reason why that happens. We have a waiting list of 150 people for those slips. So in order to provide a fair opportunity to the community, we've had some discussions about what to do. These discussions were mainly in the office because we researched these and Jenna was punctual and expedient on getting us some figures. We know the people that have the boats and don't use the boat slips. So there's going to be some rule changes on these contracts. Now, the contracts that are out there right now have wording in them such as the boat tie-up site shall be used only for the tie-up of lessee's boat or 2 personal watercrafts which have been properly registered with the lessor. We're not following through on that because they're not properly registered. Now, someone could rent a slip and say, well, the reason I don't have it registered is because my boat broke down. 2 years in a row? Not very likely. So it costs anywhere from $300 to what, $600 to get a boat slip. And if you've got a waiting list of 150 people, you know, it's worth $300 if you're going to buy a new boat maybe in 3 years. So you don't have to wait on that waiting list again. But it's not fair to the people on the waiting list. So I guess my proposal to the board is just in understanding what we're talking about right now, and if the board has any reason to interject their thoughts on changing these contracts. The contracts all read something about registering. So what we're going to propose, or at least at this point, is that if you have a boat slip and you come in to pay for that boat slip, at the same time you pay for your sticker. If you don't have a boat to put the sticker on it, it'll be over at the marina waiting for you when you get your boat. But it's paid for. So you're going to pay the boat sticker price plus the slip price in order to keep that slip. Okay? One of the other identifiable possible rule changes, if you live on the water, you don't get a boat slip because you have a place to put your boat. Now, and I'm not saying that's a.
Not every home has not every
That's
waterfront
correct.
home has.
That's correct. If they don't have that, then I would think the wording should also include that.
Right.
But if you have a place to keep your boat on your property, on the water, then it excludes you from the list, okay, of possible. But we have at least one person on the lake now that has a boat slip that doesn't use it. Now, I didn't know the conflict here, so at one time before we built, I will disclose this, at one time before we built the boat docks by the marina, I put my name on the list because I figured if we don't get the boat docks, I want a slip so I can go to the restaurant. You know, and that's a good idea, but that's not, I took my name off the list. I'm going to take my name off the list because I think it's important that we cater somewhat to the people that have been on this waiting list for as long as people that have not used those slips. So, and it's our duty as a board to protect the money that we make every year. Every time we make a decision, we think about money. So we're losing on average $3,000 a year. Now, as we've talked about prior to this meeting, we are keeping the boat slips. We are bringing the boat slip price back down along with the boat sticker price back down in 2024 as we promised. I will also suggest to you, under these contracts, there is a clause that the office can change these boat slips prices at any time in a new contract year. So it's not something that the board has to vote on. It's a part of this contract. It's an operational contract that comes from the office. Now, the board can intercede and, tell the office what to do if it so chooses after 2024. We're going to keep our promise as a board up until that time. After that, we'll see if this changes the waiting list at all, and we'll make our decision at that point. Anybody have anything to add to this discussion on boat slips? Okay, so we'll move forward on that. Nothing will be voted on tonight. We don't have to vote on anything, but I think once we come up with these new contracts and new rules, we will present it to the board so that if you have any problems with it and you feel that we need to vote on it, that's your prerogative. Okay, we already had a discussion on the adjoining lots, so we can move forward. Last thing that is not under our new business is I've asked all the board members to read their bylaws concerning officers of the board, and since I sent that out, hopefully you've had a chance to read it. I don't find it necessary to, oh yes I do, I've got it right here, by golly. I don't need to read the verbiage. I have a copy of it if anybody needs to have it substantiated by me. That doesn't have a policy book, but under the circumstances with John Reedy being in the hospital and not knowing how long he's going to be in the hospital, I'm going to ask our secretary to move up to the vice presidency, and I've asked the secretary to assign an assistant secretary to tentatively take over her responsibilities. And so we are, as of tonight, Summer Ramsey is going to be the new vice president, and I believe she has named Nina as her assistant to take over the secretary's responsibilities. I've assured Summer that, we know she's probably the, other than AJ, I mean, AJ is just so busy. But other than AJ, she's probably the busiest person on the board, and with family and jobs and so on and so forth. So I've assured her that, this isn't going to give her any more responsibility than she already has. She's been a great advocate, great secretary up to this point, and I told her when we first put these positions out here, as we vote on them at the end of each year, each time a new president is voted in, I never really followed these job descriptions to a T. My only job description for a secretary is that she watches my back, because I'm not the brightest bulb in the tree. So I always need that. So anybody have any questions about that? We okay with that? All right. No, we don't have to vote on it. No. Open forum. Here we are. Please tell us your. I'm sorry.
Adjoining lots.
We tabled that.
Oh, we tabled that. Yeah, we already talked about it. I ask that you give your lot number and your name, and be nice. Anybody? Bill?
I was just gonna say, in terms of the road maintenance issue, I happen to live on Thomas Paine Court, and in the list of years that it might be when various roads would be repaired, it didn't even make the list, which causes me certain concern. In terms of, Rick, what you said about the government committee, the deal that the county used to give, if I'm correct, was that they would not only cover the labor, would cover half the cost of materials if people on a various street would be willing to cover the other half. When I thought I heard you say, it sounded like the people on the street now would have to cover all the cost of materials. So if you'd be able to negotiate that or clarify that before any of us try to arm twist our neighbors, that would be something good to know.
Yeah,
That's my
well,
understanding was that.
that's what he's told us. Now, that's what the new engineer told us as his proposal. Now, I'm not sure he ever knew what used to be, so
Right.
we can talk to
Maybe
him
we can
about that.
negotiate
Yeah,
that
we
possibly.
can, it's, I will, you know,
Also, on the cul-de-sac, they have no cul-de-sacs on the list.
Is that right?
It's
None.
only through roads.
Yeah.
They have to travel all the way through, but they're not, to my knowledge, they haven't
It's
put any cul-de-sacs on the
That's,
list.
yeah, they did say that after all of the through roads were done, they could potentially go on that. But we're talking, what, at least 4 years?
But that's a little bit ironic, because people living in a cul-de-sac have one and only one way to try to escape. If the road is impassable, that is an issue. The other quick thing I would say, and I think what you said, Paul, was very reasonable, but I would also just call attention to the fact that if somebody is trying to get a new boat, there's sometimes some very long delays right now in terms of when those are actually manufactured and delivered. So
I
there ought
can
to be
pretty
a little-
much guarantee you that has not been the case with.
with the issues involved, I understand.
Let me-
And what you said was very reasonable.
And those people would be willing to pay that 300,
Exactly, expecting.
to be able to put their boat in the water on the day to get it.
I got it.
Can I get your lot number?
Oh, 330 Patriots Lane.
Thank you.
So, just to clarify your statement about that, I apologize, but I have this in my mind, but I don't have it right in front of me.
It's a mess.
There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 13, yeah, 13 slips with no boats.
Right.
There's one person, two persons that have had a slip for 2 years and have had not a boat in it,
Obviously.
okay? There's a person that lives on the water that has never had a boat in the slip. And there are, the dates on these slips go back to 2020, okay? Some of them, half of them. I think our office is very logical when it comes to dealing with our people. And if anybody called up the office and said, you know, I got a slip here, and the guy tells me I'm not gonna get a boat until next September, and there's nobody gonna say, well, you're gonna lose the slip. That's not gonna happen. But when somebody that we call tells us not to call them, it's their slip, and they can do with what they want with that slip, they need to read their contract. And we're not trying to be unfair. All we're trying to do is be fair. And the board's responsibility to you as residents is to make sure the money that we make out here is what we're supposed to be making. And we're losing money on the slips.
Those are the people that I'll be gladly inform them, it is not their slip. They just lease it.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
I know you guys volunteer and all this, so don't.
Your name and lot number, please.
259 Jefferson Valley, Richard Mullis. When we all bought in here, we bought in with these covenants. Bylaws can be changed, stuff like that, covenants. It says, no building should be erected, altered, placed, or permitted to remain on any lot other than one single-family dwelling, not exceeding 2.5 stories in height, and one private garage. So
if you guys start letting the garages go up, it can't be done, as I see it, with this.
Well, I would just, I would just say that if Putnam County deeds your lots together, it is one lot. And therefore, under our covenants, you have one lot, and you can have your house on that side of the lake and your garage on that side of the lake. According to Putnam County, on the other lot.
I'm gonna argue that point, but what happens if they separate them?
Well, that's one of the discussions we had tonight.
Okay, well, I'll just bring that up.
Yeah, that's the reason why we haven't come to a point of an agreement yet, because there is gray area in this particular rule. And I appreciate you bringing that up. However, that was the reason I suggested that once two lots become one, you can build a garage on that other lot, okay?
You know what, I'm gonna argue that point, because I really don't like, I was just saying, when it says, when you say adjoining means pretty much adjoining, side by side. That's pretty basic terms, no matter how, Putnam County does their stuff and we do our things here, but adjoining is adjoining. I mean, that's pretty common sense.
Well, there are provisions in that same covenant paragraph, though, for a detached garage. Okay, so you can, so it doesn't say where the detached garage has to be.
It's vague. And, no, it was a dwelling and one private garage, you're right, yeah. But if you go separating them, then we got problems.
I agree.
Then I can come back, you might come back, well, you let them build on there. Well, yeah, but they separated and all that.
That was the biggest con about this new rule from the A&E committee members and chairmen. If we do this, it isn't gonna stop and people are just gonna go, well, he did it, now I can do it. Well, now the board's coming up with another idea. Why can't they do it? I mean, would you rather have 3 trailers on a lot or 1 garage?
You can't have trailers that says that.
Yes, you
right
can.
Yeah, you can.
You can have three empty, open-sided, I promise you, we've gone through a
there.
lawyer.
No trailers.
Yeah,
Not
no
mobile
campers.
homes.
That's
No
Mobile homes.
Yeah.
But you can, if you read further down on that list, there is a line item that says you can have 3
It specifically
open-sided
says
trailers.
Boat trailers.
3, and these covenants, it says 3 open-side trailers. You have to show it to me.
I can pull the letter that I had written for the POA.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I mean, this is what we see. You might see something different. I'm
No,
just
it's
saying.
I bought
It's in
a
there.
lot behind
Here,
me.
I'll show it to you.
I bought a lot behind me.
It's in there, I'll show it to you.
I was gonna say, I bought a lot behind me
It'll take me a
to
minute
park
to
stuff
find
on
Oh, okay, sorry.
for that purpose.
Yeah.
And there was,
All I can tell you is that we've had a lot of board meetings where the fact about 3 trailers have come up because some of the neighbors have elected to put 4 or 5 trailers on their lot, and we've had to kick them out of there.
Richard,
Are you talking about section 2 where it says no trailer, similar type structure, basement, tent, shack, garage, barn, or other outbuilding?
Yeah, that's what it says. No,
Shall at any time be used as a residence.
right, yeah.
no trailer shall be used as a
Well,
residence.
As a resident.
And I
They're
see
not
you
saying you
can-
can't park a trailer on the lot, they're saying you can't live in a trailer parked on the lot.
Well, it's just like saying,
Yeah.
no meat farms.
You have a trailer on your lot,
Right, yeah.
you don't live in it.
No.
That's why
You
it's
gotta read
legal.
the whole sentence.
That's why it's legal. That's why we haven't asked you to move it.
You said open trailer.
And a lot of them
Correct.
lots, you can't even see the trailers at the end of the year.
Yeah, because they don't mow.
Richard, I know that, I mean, I've read that stuff over and over. It's either in the covenant bylaws or general rules, but it does say you can park 3 boat trailers on a lot.
Open-sided.
Open-sided boat trailer.
I'm not sure where exactly it is right now.
Don't say the covenants, but I'm just saying,
Yeah.
and I ain't arguing, I'm just saying, you don't say the covenants, I like to say.
It's in there somewhere, because I've read it a gazillion times.
All right, okay. I'll read through it again.
Anybody else?
Roger Wright, 466 Mill Springs. Is there anything that says they won't be able to build a 2-story garage with a grandma's or mother-in-law quarter above?
Well, it says there that no other structure besides a home can be used as a dwelling. That is in our covenants.
Okay.
You
Yeah,
can't use this.
you can have a 2-story garage.
Yeah.
And
But you
we
can't
all
live in it.
know, we've seen some pretty big garages out here, and we all know what's possibly happening. We have personally been inside of several of these over the last 6 years. And we have people that have showers and different things in these garages that swear to us it's because right after their workout, they want to go get a shower. And when they come out of the office, they want to get a shower. Now, do we have the kind of compliance nature out here that we're just going to knock on the door someday and see 3 kids coming down from below, you know?
In their jammies.
Probably not.
You know, there are suspicions, sure.
I'd just like to point out that Ken has already proposed a workaround. You just build a house with a garage and then burn the house down. Garage on a lot.
Thank you.
What is your name and lot number?
And your social security, because you're going to get charged.
If there's nobody else, no other comments from the board, I'll take a motion.
So moved.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor, come to the executive meeting. Those opposed, come to the executive meeting.
I would